cutting edge guests, awesome, uncensored, jaw-dropping information, plus funny memes, good deeds, and loads of laughter. Kind of have it all. Ladies and gentlemen, if your soul is awake, then welcome, because you're in the right place. Well, good day to you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sovereign Soul Program, a show which stands for love, levity, and liberty, because after all, love is the most powerful force in the universe, and laughter's the best medicine, especially covering serious topics in all matters, ancient, current, and quantum, right? I am your host, Brad Wozni. I have an incredible show here for you today, I believe. So it is an economic update because of what has been happening at a literally warp speed. Now, I trust some of the information in today's episode, or heck, all of it, could help to literally generate powerful, positive impacts in both your life, those of your loved ones, and the community around you. You see, my soul's purpose in life is to help uplift humanity's consciousness with song and story. Therefore, in this show, the Sovereign Soul Show, by sharing these unique points of views, these truths, the laughter, the love with you, it's done so according to the laws of nature, which aim to pierce the programming that's been waged upon the global masses. Oh boy, I've got a couple things to pierce that programming today. And it's to help foster a greater world for us awakened lions and lionesses as we fight back, including the XRP army, updates for you too, as we fight back against evil while humanity propels itself forward in this golden era that's upon us right now. It's the age of Aquarius. So first of all, thank you from my heart, from my soul, to all of you whistleblowers, to the light workers, to the digital warriors, the citizen soldiers, the benevolent healthcare heroes, benevolent first responders, benevolent military, benevolent Leos, benevolent educators, benevolent attorneys, benevolently powerful parents, the divine masculine protectors, and divine feminine guardians. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for your consistent efforts, your commitment to shepherd light forth in this world while fighting for the sovereignty of all souls here and now. It's not been for naught. Evil is on the ropes and it's about to fail. So wherever you are watching this broadcast or hearing this broadcast, I am sending you Reiki. I'm sending you love and support to you to hold the line, keep it up. Now, as a former Canadian infantry soldier trained as a peacekeeper who also spent some summers hopping out of helicopters, fighting wildfires in Ontario and the Yukon, I've had a continued calling to serve the greater good. It's in my blood. It's in my genealogy. It's a core of my family. Now, my family's lineage on both my mother and father's side, they're each firstborn Canadians. My whole family's lineage holds patriots who fled the Nazis in World War I and World War II. They immigrated to North America as refugees. Several of my family members in each generation soldiered up, put on a uniform, went back to fight against that evil, fascist evil in both world wars, in tanks, bombers, as sailors, nurses, medical doctors on the beaches of Normandy to defeat fascism once and for all. Unfortunately, as we're now very much aware, that crept back, it snuck into the shadows and launched another attack on our world. And so by producing the Sovereign Soul Show, it is my hope the information in this episode and all of them, including the one, of course, we're about to dive into right now, economically, will help you achieve a higher level of sovereign freedom in your life. It's like JFK said, the service of truth is the ultimate heroism, and one person can change the world. Everybody should try. So hence, this is how I'm acting now as a soldier here today. SOULDIER, one who serves to help uplift the world's vibration so we all live from a place of love, levity, and liberty. I've been a Reiki master for over 7 years now, and I'm very grateful for that. And love, levity, and liberty, that is the mantra of our show. It is the ethos of our mascot, the bling'd Buddha, something he fully subscribes to. And you take a look at the graphic here, the bling'd Buddha fires red pills from his 9mm. And yes, he has a Punisher tattoo over his left breast. It's all about saving the children, right? And stopping tyranny. And of course, we have the lotus flower and the peaceful dove on his shoulder. and a precious metal blinged out chain of gold and silver, including a cryptocurrency token. You guys zoom in on that. You'll get to figure that out. So here we go right now. My goodness. I'm bringing this to you as a combination of both from a precious metal standpoint, economic, globally, as well as more domestic in North America as well. And then we've got the crypto and precious metals, right? All of that combined. Why is this combining right now? For those of you who are tuning in who haven't watched any of the series over the last 2+ months, you know, I've had Dr. Kirk Elliott, sovereign wealth advisor. He's a 2x PhD theologian and economist on the show. And one of the things, as a guy who's shunned Wall Street, keeps saying that we are on a precious metals backed currency about to get there. He's always believed that. In July 6th, the US government omitted from their US code, omitted the ability to trade with precious metals because it had been there since the Nixon administration, excuse me. What does that mean? It means that up until now, it could only be a fiat currency, while now no longer. So is that paving the way for a gold-backed currency? Well, one of the things you look back just 2 weeks ago, and I'll touch on it in the show here as well and bring up that clip shortly, folks, is we saw that in June, it was reported there was $35 trillion in gold bought primarily by central banks around the world. $35 trillion in a 30-day period. And we've known that China and Russia have been the largest governments in terms of buying up and gobbling up gold depositories. We've just seen over the last few weeks the BRICS nations that are forming their own banking system, because on March 22nd of this year, the SWIFT investment banksters unplugged Russia from the SWIFT banking system. So if you want to, like you're in Europe, right? And we've seen all of those countries in Europe, from Finland to Spain to Germany to Poland, have to buy their natural gas and energy needs still from Russia. In order to do that, they have to buy in rubles or they have to buy in gold. That's it. They can't do it with the euro. They can't do it with US dollars. So there has to be an intermediary so that they can exchange their currency for rubles or gold. And now we're just seeing a massive uptick in gold and precious metals purchases. In fact, right before July 1st of this year, the US Mint is reported to have told their 27 resellers for the US Mint that they were slashing their gold production by half, 50%. So here's the thing, what's going on right now, and you're going to see from a few experts here in a moment, that really the world right now is trading in gold globally. I'm talking globally, not regionally specific, okay? And I'm totally into the crypto community as well. So gold is globally traded, and the US dollar still today, even though the euro went below parity since its inception, right, over 2 decades ago, the US dollar, those are the two largest globally traded, reported right now, currencies, methods of exchange for countries and citizens and businesses right now. We're seeing the US dollar just crash, right? I'm going to take you to this interview and play this clip for you. And this is from the bling'd CEO, and he's roughly about my age, so you can get an idea of what he is saying. And this is just in New York City, an interview that he did this week on Wall Street. Check this out.
Anything new, actually. Inflation's been with us for some time. In my lifetime, it's meant that the cost of living has been increasing dramatically, and the purchasing power of the US dollar has dropped by 85% in my lifetime. It's become nearly worthless. So has most other fiat currencies, government issued currencies as well. But gold is the ultimate store of value. I mean, it backed the US dollar up until 1971, when Nixon took us off that standard. And the only problem with gold, though, is that you couldn't use it to make normal purchase, and that's what
anything else out there.
Yeah,
absolutely. Dollar.
And these problems which you kind of mentioned before, you know, we've got there's more than just inflation now. We have the stock market collapsing, cryptocurrency bubble deflating. We have, it seems really that we're not going to be able to avoid a recession. We've got war with Russia. All of these things create huge uncertainty and difficulties for people across the country.
So what's working in this environment, would you say?
Well, I think the only two things left standing at the moment are the US dollar and gold. And in a basket of currencies, gold is up in other baskets of currencies. But, even against gold, we all know, against the US dollar, we know that gold will ultimately win the race. That's what history shows us, is that, for instance, in my lifetime, rather than losing its purchasing power, gold's purchasing power has increased by over 500%. And that was before, we did that calculation before all of these big changes over the last 2 years. I mean, the US have printed, out of all US dollars in existence, 20% of them were printed during the pandemic. So there's a lot of built up pressures for more inflation in the system.
And that even.
Okay, so you've just heard it right here. All right. So over his lifetime, the value of the American dollar has dropped 75%. Yet in that same lifetime, the power of gold has rocketed 500%, right? That's powerful. That's really powerful. Now, in our last episode, we had continued the conversation with the massive corruption happening on the gold and silver trading desks at JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, and this is part of a RICO suit that is being prosecuted right now against those banks. And that's racketeering, right? This is under the Department of Justice that is normally reserved for organized crime. So now this goes beyond the borders from what we've seen, and it's likely pointing out that other banks, investment banks like Goldman Sachs, Merrill Lynch, according to Bloomberg, and again, those reports are in some of the previous, videos that you can find on our YouTube and on the Rumble and BitChute channel, that this has been going on for many, many years against precious metals, shorting gold and silver, and basically taking money off the hands of good, hardworking citizens of the world, whether you're Americans and your savings plans with your index funds and your ETFs. We've been explaining, that they're doing the short position, they're purposely driving it down. And people have been asking, can you explain that a little bit more, Brad? Right? Same thing when I've had Dr. Elliott on the show. So what we're going to do here right now is just take a quick break to share with you one thing that's really important as to why I always advocate, like, subscribe, comment, and share, enable notifications. And I'm going to give that to you now. Then we're going to go back to talking about what it is. You're going to hear from two experts what it is shorting, what that means to short a stock, and why that has such a massive financial impact once that comes off. And yeah, we have a Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple update for those who have not been informed. And for those that don't really know about cryptocurrency, this is another huge $9 trillion impact just on the US economy alone for US taxpayers that they just might have to fork up. So just imagine you're an American or you have family in America, and we're 46% roughly inflation now, adjusted for the core CPI from Dr. Elliott's thesis in the 1990s, prior to its redefinition at the Clinton administration. You definitely want to share this with them, because they may also be on the hook as taxpayers unless they walk the sovereign soul's path, which we all are, to a tune of another $9 trillion. Okay, so what I'm going to do is share the screen here, because this is extremely impactful of what happened this weekend with an interview I did with a Navy SEAL Team 6 legend of DevGuru legend on his channel, interviewing me. And then what happened as a result of that. And we know what is going on. If you know, right, on why they're pulling things down. So let me just jump to that for a second. All right, great. So we're on Rumble. Now, rumble.com is another video channel. This is so far 100% censorship free. Great Canadian company from Toronto. originally. And so the Sovereign Soul show on Rumble, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel. You do require a Rumble account to set it up. But here's the thing. This video I've left up here purposefully for the purpose of this recording on the economic update, folks, because if you can see the title of this, I'm not going to say it here because this needs to live. I'll zoom in. This needs to live on YouTube. You can see the title here. Well, so I was interviewed on this particular Navy SEAL Team 6 Legends channel. I'm not going to say his name as well because he's on his 10th or 11th YouTube channel because he keeps getting taken down by sharing truths. So this is how crucial the censorship is. This is how crucial it is for you to subscribe to stay updated, because you never know when any channel could go down. We've had people in this community just in the last 2 weeks without even a strike on their channels has been completely taken down. YouTube's just axed them right off the bat. So here's the thing. I shared this interview on Twitter, Getter, and True Social. And the next time logged into Twitter, Getter, and True Social, we had 3 accounts on there, gone. This post, the post linking to this interview that you're seeing here at the very top where the cursor's highlighting was gone, deleted. So Twitter had deleted it, Getter had deleted it, and still, as of right now, this recording, unable to log into Truth Social. Now, does one thing have to do with the other? Not certain, but just be wary, folks. And that's why we highly recommend, please subscribe to the Rumble channel, and definitely, of course, on YouTube. But you never know with the way things are going. All right, so let's get back to what I was saying before, which is the short positions of JP Morgan Chase and rigging the system against everybody, because the same thing has happened in the crypto market. What's just come out, and by the way, it happens to be the same bank, JP Morgan Chase, in both cases, rigging and conspiring in the cryptocurrency market and obviously on the stock market and precious metals. We're going to get there right now. Okay, I'm going to jump in here now. I don't recall the gentleman's name. He has been in the precious metals market for 3 decades, second generation. He was on with Jean-Claude and Beyond Mystic. But here's him explaining what a short position is. And by the way, when the RICO case is decided, and thus far it's trending to look like the prosecution department of justice is going to win against JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, and all the others in there. At the very least, it's been reported that there is a 3 times amount of what has been stolen, 3 times the amount owed back to the investors, the investment community. Now, here's the thing. In the previous chart you saw on one of my weekly economic updates, there was a $32 trillion in short derivatives positions against precious metals on behalf of those plaintiffs, JP Morgan Chase and Bank of America and others, right? 32 trillion. So just imagine if it is that, then and based on that, they would owe $96 trillion. Could that be? Well, listen to how this gentleman, Andy, explains what a short position is. And I encourage you to share this with everybody as well, because this is the massive scandal that continues to go on. This is the largest financial market scandal in recent history, in the last at least 10 years of decade. All right, here we go.
And the overt manipulation on COMEX. And it's always the same thing where the commercial banks will entice the managed money into going long. And what is very unusual, what's different about the way markets work and the way the commercial banks work, is that the commercial banks will short gold and silver as they're rising. Now, people who short would typically short it as it's falling. You continue to short, it goes further and further and further down. You short something with the anticipation of buying it back later at a lower price. And so if it's dropping and you continue to short it and it continues to fall, it adds fuel to this fire. The commercial banks are notorious for shorting when the price rises. And so what they do is they sucker the managed money traders into going long, which then pushes the price up. The commercial banks then, they short it, the price drops. They capture the premium of the options expire worthless. They rinse, wash, and repeat. When the nickel market imploded in March of earlier.
Okay, so you get it right there, folks. So you heard him. They sucker you in. So think about that. Commercial banks, index funds, ETFs, and then you have this other JP Morgan Chase. Now, I remember at Research in Motion BlackBerry, when I started working there for the very few years that I was in corporate, that's where I learned what a short position was, right? If you think the stock's going to go down and then kind of hit the bottom at a certain period of time, you can short it. It's almost like you're purchasing, hoping that it's going to fail, and then you buy it back and you make the difference, right? Well, here's the thing. And that worked for some people in tech, and a lot of people got really rich because if there was negative news, they knew that the stock would go down, but there could be positive news coming out, then it's going to just kind of have that hockey stick and come back, right? And they make money on both sides. Well, these are the entities that are controlling the market. That's what he just said. Now, Dr. Kirk Elliott just sent a video over to me this morning. So I just got that. I'm just going to play for you what he shares here as part of our weekly update with regards to this very matter. And hold your hat, XRP Army, all of you, because I've got some other stuff too. And again, of course, involves pretty much the same slithery individuals, right? In terms of a corporate entity. Here we go.
What that means is, we'll put it into perspective, like JP Morgan Chase. They are the custodian for the silver ETF, right? So whenever a silver ETF share is sold, JP Morgan has to fulfill that with some physical silver. Doesn't seem to add up with how many shares of the silver ETF are sold, but yet they still have to do that in part. So as a business, what would they rather do? Pay high prices or low prices? Well, they'd rather pay low prices. So when they do that, they issue what's called naked shorts, meaning they can issue a short driving the price down. They sell something that they don't have. That's what a naked short means. So they drive the price down, they gobble up a bunch of silver, that demand causes the price to go up. They don't like the high price, so they issue another short, causes the price to go down, they gobble up more silver. So that game's been being played for a long time. Well, last year, Reddit basically said, hey, enough is enough. There's low inventory at the depositories. The amount of paper contracts for silver are huge, astronomically big, and the amount of physical silver is small. So we can actually do a short squeeze and win here, right? So they basically talked to the masses, all their followers, and said, hey, start buying physical silver, because then when their short contracts have to be fulfilled, there's not going to be enough physical silver. So this has been going on for a bit, for a while, for like a year plus. And the more that they keep issuing those short contracts, the worse it's going to be for them, the better for us, because they have mountains of physical delivery that's going to have to be fulfilled when those contracts expire. And they keep rolling them. That's why this keeps going on a little bit. But over the last 3 weeks, there's been something that actually drove the price of gold and silver down, but not just gold and silver. Wheat, corn, steel, gas, oil, everything, all commodities across the board came down. But why? When in the inflationary pressures that we're seeing, the prices should be going up, right? Well, they should, and they will. But what happened is China, after a couple years of COVID, they are still the manufacturing superpower of the world. About maybe 60% of everything that's consumed globally comes out of China. Well, when the global economic slowdown, manufacturers not working, people not buying, their economy got absolutely decimated. As much debt as we have in America, China's intensely worse. So their currency started going down a lot. The yuan is just tanking. Like throwing a rock into the ocean, it just sinks to the bottom. So there's issues. There's a ton of issues there, and their economy is being ravaged, so much so that a lot of the big Chinese banks are now withholding withdrawals. Their capital squeezed. They don't have a lot of money or any money, and they're telling Chinese citizens, you can't get your money out. So now whenever there's economic fallout, what comes after that is social mayhem and chaos. And that's what they're starting to see in China, right? So bottom line is they have a bank crisis. They're withholding funds from depositors. Their currency is collapsing. And so that arbitrarily makes the US dollar look a little bit stronger compared to the Chinese currency. Is the dollar strong? Absolutely not. It is not. Don't believe the mainstream media narrative that the dollar is strong, because we still have unsustainable debt, inflationary pressures, political chaos. China is now dumping US treasuries. For the first time since 2010, their holdings of US treasuries fell below $1 trillion. Well, that's the lowest it's been in 12 years. That's a foreshadowing of things to come. But China's not just dumping US treasuries, they're dumping European treasuries, Japanese treasuries across the board, because as interest rates rise, and they just rose another 0.75% yesterday, right? And this is going to continue on because they have to try to fight inflation. So it's one of the mechanisms they have. It's not going to amount to a hill of beans of difference, because for it to really work, they have to raise rates higher than the true inflation rate, which right now is around 25%. They're not going to do that because that would kill the economy overnight. The other thing that they could do is stop stimulus, stop printing money. They're not going to do that either, especially in an election year. Politicians don't want to actually kill the economy when they're about to be reelected, right? So we've got this perpetual cycle of an inflate or die scenario. That will cause asset prices of tangible assets like gold, silver, oil, gas, cars, groceries, everything that we see to just soar and go through the roof. So hang tight and hold the course, because what we're seeing now is temporary reduction in prices. Medium, long term, silver is going to explode. Now, medium and long term, I'm not talking about decades. I'm talking about probably in the next 12 months. We see this explosion happening. So right now, with the temporary reduction in prices, what does that mean? It means we have a buying opportunity of a lifetime. It's not a time to sell. It's not a time to get scared. It's a time, if you have anything else, allocated into silver, because the fundamentals of the global economy are deteriorating rapidly. And that'll cause gold and silver to go up, not just with the inflationary pressures, but as a flight for quality, as equity markets, stock markets across the globe continue their destruction because of the rising rates and the massive amount of debt that we have around the world. This is going to be devastating for stock markets, for the bond market. The bond market's toast with interest rates rising. So let's go back to China real quick before we end. So is the dollar strong? No, but it's relatively stronger compared to the yuan, the Chinese currency. So the way that I've explained this on some of my TV shows lately is, let's say that you're going out on a date, and this is not for the ladies. Ladies don't do stuff like this, but guys do. It's like going out on a date, you have no clean shirts. So you go into the laundry pile, you do the little sniff test, right? It's like, okay, this one's gonna work. See, this is the US dollar right now. It's that scenario. It's the cleanest shirt in the dirty laundry pile. And that's just a temporary thing. As currencies continue to collapse, tangible assets, gold, silver, oil, gas, everything that's a tangible asset is going to go up in price. So don't be dismayed by the low prices right now. They won't stay here for long, because under inflationary environment, they will go up. But we do have a temporary price reduction because of everything that I've just talked about on this recording. So hold tight, stay the course. Everything that we've done to go into tangible assets to protect and preserve everything you've worked your whole life to accumulate is going to explode. It's going to explode. It's going to be the best thing in an inflationary world to protect and preserve everything you've worked your whole life to accumulate. So that's really what I wanted to say this morning. I wanted to address the low prices in gold and silver, explain what's happening in China, explain actually how a short squeeze works, and just know that with low inventory, supply chain disruptions, manufacturing demand, because the global economy is slowing down, but the manufacturing demand for silver is the highest it's ever been, because manufacturers are catching up from not working over the last 2 years, right? So these are the fundamental issues facing gold and silver right now. Don't be dismayed. Everything that we've done is for such a time as this. So God bless you. We'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Okay, hey everybody, I'm going to take you to an interview I did with James Valley regarding RippleXRP and this massive criminal, really to me it's criminal lawsuit, but it's a civil suit that the SEC has levied against RippleXRP, saying it was security. Now, as a little bit of backstory for those of you that are new in the crypto space or you haven't done any digital asset investing before. So in 2020, just leading up to it, Ripple's company, think of it like Toyota is Ripple, that's the company, and XRP is a cryptocurrency like Toyota has Forerunner, the car, right? So the SEC went and declared that Bitcoin and Ethereum are not a security. They're free and clear. They go to the moon. All that continues to be invested and purchased around the world. However, if XRP is a security, and we are now going to sue them, the SEC. And for 2 years, it's been reported up to 3 weeks ago, 2 years, they've spent over $100 million in federal court on legal fees, fighting this battle to prove that what you state, SEC, the top dogs there, as a security doesn't apply to us at XRP in our cryptocurrency, at Ripple in our current crypto XRP. So why have you not designated Bitcoin and Ethereum? Well, guess what? Here's what we've learned from this case. I'm going to give you an abstraction. As a result of this case, we found out JP Morgan Chase Bank in 2014 invested in Ethereum layer 1 heavily. So much for it being sovereign, right? we're off the fiat system. They can't track us. We're doing Bitcoin, Ethereum, crypto, all this stuff on our own, and we're generating wealth outside the banking system. No, they were in it almost from the inception and conspired. Then we also understand that there is a direct financial interest as well as collusion. It's being uncovered in this court case, as Jimmy is sharing here. At the top heads of the SEC used to work for JP Morgan Chase because they were formerly lawyers and partners at law firms that for decades represented JP Morgan Chase. And now they're the heads of the SEC. And now what we're seeing in the case in federal court has also come to light is that they conspired to suppress Ripple's XRP and inflate Bitcoin and Ethereum. And you literally have a monopoly. You have monopoly in the banking system, in the government system, to champion their own ownership of Bitcoin and Ethereum to be the leading cryptocurrency and to literally tie up and kill, castrate, completely decimate their competition, which is RippleXRP. Here's Jimmy Valley, who was, up until starting Valhalla Capital, a partner at 3 of America's top 100 AM law firms. It's like saying that, hey, I was like a CEO level of 3 Fortune 50 companies. And Jimmy Valley here, and I'm fortunate now that, last year we've gotten to know each other to a great extent and spend some time in his presence. Fortunate now that he's here to share with you because he, folks, is one of the top digital asset investment wizards in the world. And our interview here, look at these angel numbers. Our interview went viral in the RippleXRP community. XRP Army, thank you very much for sharing this and putting this forward. Our interview came to an hour, 41 minutes, 41 seconds. That's incredible angel numbers. And right now I'm tapping into it that roughly three days ago, we have 2,121 views for our Sovereign Soul Show channel here on YouTube. So I'm going to press play, listen to the 2.5 minutes about what Jimmy discovered to get us to this point. Then, of course, you can go to this interview, listen to it, because he also shares in this interview when he thinks this case will end, and a lot sooner in his feeling as to it ending rather than November. So here we go. Like that wizard behind the curtains, the Wizard of Oz, that's pulling all these strings and being the puppet master. Back to Metallica, right? Puppet Masters, which is a great album. So cool. And even tuning down the frequency on the megahertz so it doesn't tap into your heart and enlighten it. It actually changes your brain chemistry through sound. Okay, so that's just a quip there. And what the hell does that have to do with cryptocurrency and corruption at the highest levels of government, Brad? Well, just saying that's just one of the other outlets on how they are attempting to keep a lid on us, attempting to control us. And remember that government is our Latin terms. The Latin terms are governus mentis. Governus means control and mentis means mind. So that's literally mind control. And it's laughing. It's been in our face for centuries, if not eons, that term government. So Jimmy, you're at University, Nashville. And now Jimmy had been an audio engineer in Hollywood prior to going to law school and rising to the top of the top and the cream of the cream before starting Valhalla Capital and Ripple in Houston.
So after you mentioned in the introduction, I spent over 2 decades practicing corporate securities law, acquisitions and securities offerings. It was in that context that I stumbled onto this digital asset movement. And initially, when I heard about it in 2017, 2018, I guess it was during the last major bull run of Bitcoin, I thought people were crazy for getting involved in that type of stuff. That's how, blind I was to what was really going on.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until, when the pandemic, hit in the spring of 2020 that I started to do some real soul searching about what was truly going on, because at that point nothing made sense to me about the lockdowns and the reaction from our government and governments around the world seemed so far excessive to even if there was this virus going around that could hurt people. Why would you shut down entire economies? It didn't make sense. So I started really digging in as a young lawyer doing due diligence on a company or a transaction would. And that's when I started to realize that, the puppet masters, were basically trying to shift us over into a new digital financial system and had been at work at it for quite some time. I was completely unaware of that. But once I saw it, it's like, well, the initial thought was I got to get on this wave and try to ride it, right? Try to surf this wave. It's clear now that this is where everything's going to go. And so that led me into investing in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and kind of those at that time were the top blue chip digital assets.
Which everybody thought because of the way they were positioned, right?
Stuff. And we started to try to use it in connection with our businesses in Valhill. It was clunky. It didn't work well. There were gas fees. You could initiate a smart contract on Ethereum and then not unwind it. There was all this weird stuff that was basically like this tech doesn't work very well. This was, I guess, the dominant theme for us. So we started looking at, what is, these are clearly the America Onlines and the Netscapes and the Napster of, like what happened when we went through the internet, internet creation and internet boom, which I had lived through that very personally with the entertainment, world that I was living in, being out in California, seeing that whole thing go. So, it's like, which one is going to be the winner? And it was that type of due diligence process that, in seeking out which one had the most utility, which could be used to do the most stuff, which one was going to be the $6 million man of crypto, the better, faster, stronger, one. And that's how we ended up gravitating towards the XRP and investing in XRP. The more we learned about not only the asset, but the different uses that were being done with the central banking systems, with the large commercial banks globally, all of the rails that were being, connected and laid down. So there's an infrastructure, there's a layer one infrastructure that's been built out for well over, it's over 15 years now, right?
Could we equate that example, Jimmy, of rails to the old school?
All right, I'm just going to bring back here. Keep it going. Okay, so you can go back and watch the continuance of that interview if it behooves you, of course. But let me just give you an example of what this really means. Number one, imagine the days in the beginning of the 19th century. All right, you have Henry Ford comes out with the Model T. All right, here's your Bitcoin. Okay, and then we improve that, and we work with another third party, contractor, and we create the next generation. There's your Ethereum. Now, just imagine from that time when it's created, 2007 to 2014, along comes this company, this competitor, Ripple. And what are they doing? They're building an Audi S5. They are so far ahead compared to these guys over here, right? So, of course, who would want to go buy that? Like, you heard with Jimmy, with the issues they had for using Bitcoin and Ethereum and the smart contracts in his business environment. Who would want to be with the Model T, first generation or otherwise, when you can go get this brand spanking new sexy Audi S5 that Ripple's created, and they have this little badge on it called XRP, right? And then you get all your buddies in the banks and in the government, and you help, maybe you've helped install them in those government positions that rain down hell and terror in legal tyranny on your company, so you can't sell that Audi S5 and the value is completely depreciated, and you got to fight this court case. So just right before we jumped on here, XRP was trading at around 34 cents. And there are some people out there in that community that are saying it could go to $100,000 if and when, of course, there's going to be a when this case is decided and it lands back in the favor of Ripple. Again, I'm not the judge. It's not a trial by jury. It's directly with a federal court judge. But if that judge decides the case on behalf of RippleXRP, and you know you've got that equivalent of a Model T over here in their generation, and you can go and grab that Audi S5, and the world is always going to drive that Audi S5, for example, man, watch out, right? Okay. So want to thank you all for tuning in. We're just about to wrap up here. I'm going to take you to two more screens, excuse me. Here we again with a gentleman who is the digital asset investor. He's also on YouTube. You can follow him. He actually had reposted 5+ minutes of clips from the interview that Jimmy and I had completed here. So you can jump onto his channel. There's something that he shared with regards to XRP. So you're hearing it from an expert. And according to Jimmy, this is the largest RippleXRP expert channel on the internet. And Jimmy sent this to me shortly after we concluded the interview. Listen to what he shares in the Digital Asset Investor from this particular thread, coming directly from Ripple themselves.
This is James Wallace from Ripple.
I think the big question, I think central bank digital money will definitely happen. I mean, it's already happening. Congratulations to Nigeria and a few other countries. We're working on projects that are pilots prior to going live.
Okay, he said central bank digital money has already happened. And this is Ripple XRP being used outside, because you can't use it, buy it anywhere in the United States because of this case, right? So according to Jimmy as well, there's $9 trillion in reparations that could be available if the judge rules in Ripple's favor. Again, those of you who have friends or family, or you're Americans and you're volunteering to pay income tax, unless you're a federal employee or unless you live and reside within the District of Columbia, imagine that you're on the hook for $9 trillion as a taxpayer just because a few people wanted to leverage their governmental mind control, right? Governor mentis, governmental positions and rain hell down on a innovative company, Ripple. Listen to what else they say here, because they're still expanding around the world. This isn't stopping them. They're still growing. And a lot of other countries are jumping on that Ripple XRP bandwagon.
So not proof of concepts. I think proof of concepts should be a thing of the past now. And the big question really is what happens in the middle. You know, the commercial bank sector, and whether that will be, you know, ultimately stable coins or some other form of digital money. But
Almost as if lawmakers have pushed that to September on the stable coins in the United States. They're waiting on this stable coin. That's why they're rushing that part of things, folks. They're rushing it because that's probably what's going to interact with all these CBDCs, and they're trying to get it all ready.
All right. And as we have seen with digital IDs and currencies and whatnot, you know, there's one thing to be wary of for CBDCs and digital IDs. And then there's another one where there's exchanges by we the people that create this informational structure and barter and leverage precious metals and certain digital assets, cryptocurrencies, potentially NFTs as well. Now, Jimmy is going to be back on, is promised to come back on very shortly on the show. We're in contact multiple times a day, which is wonderful here, and I appreciate that. So do yourself a favor, subscribe, number one, to the YouTube channel, and for the Sovereign Soul to stay up to date when we publish that. And of course, Rumble. And yeah, I understand we're asking you. I'm just offering it up to connect with Rumble, because God knows what could happen over the next every day, every minute. We have no idea if the YouTube channel will survive, because we've said one thing that the bad big tech, folks don't want to hear or don't want out there. So jump on to Rumble. Remember, I'm producing this completely for free. We don't have paid sponsorship for the show. We have some folks that we do believe that are creating value in this world as sovereign souls. and whatnot. For those of you who are interested and just have a precious metals consultation anywhere in the world, including in the States, you could roll your IRA 401k over penalty free. And just imagine having the savings. Remember, you have the stock market is down on a whole roughly 39% based on our last video that Kirk and I did. Right, it was the S&P index 39%. So you need a 68. That was 2 weeks ago. You need a 68% return to break even where you were from January 1st this year. So you can go to, again, Kirk Elliott, phd.com/soul. You'll see us up there. You'll see a message directly from myself. And then all you have to do is fill out that simple little form, your email, first name, last name, phone number, to have a free consultation with Dr. Elliott's team. Very cool, those people over there. So you jump on that and see how you can acquire physical silver bullion, because you have a massive snapback that everybody is waiting for and everybody knows. And heck, you can go and check out RICO case, right? Because it's all there. It's all before the courts and the judge. All right, so let's go jump over to two more things I would hope that you all are going to remain mindful of. Number one, you've got to take care of your sovereignty, all right? And in addition to the economic sovereignty, I mean, if there isn't another reason to share this, I don't know what. Because ladies and gentlemen, listen, this is a great channel, by the way, Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. It's a couple that lives in Missouri. They went off grid 5 years ago, and roughly 90% of their food they grow on their own in Missouri, all year round, taking care of things. But pay attention to what he says here, because this is that massive war that continues to be waged upon us.
For you to learn from. So today I thought it'd be interesting if we learned a new word together. Cool. Today's new word is eugenics, right? Maybe some of you have never heard this word before, but this is what the word stands for.
Here's the definition of eugenics. The study of how to arrange reproduction within a human population to increase the occurrence of heritable characteristics regarded as desirable. Developed largely by Sir Francis Galton as a method of improving the human race, eugenics was increasingly discredited as unscientific and racially biased during the 20th century, especially after the adoption of its doctrines by the Nazis in order to justify their treatment of Jews, disabled people, and other minority groups.
Before we get started, I want to recap yesterday's video, and I want to talk about, I was clearly stating two differences. One was going to your private physician or private place to have your blood drawn and all this stuff, okay? It's a little more of a controlled environment versus standing in long lines to some person you have no clue where any of this stuff is going and you're just submitting, right? So just in case anyone had a problem with that or couldn't figure that part out. Some of these videos, I'm kind of being direct with you guys, and it seems like you're getting lost in there a little bit. So I'll try to be more precise, and I'll try to slow down. And if you got any questions, leave them in the comments. I'm reading the comments all the time because I want to know what you guys are thinking about all this stuff too, right? Because, we're stronger together in that sense, right, of community, but we're also stronger as individuals. See, it's like a dichotomy there. It's like a double-edged sword. You can't stay a hermit, right? We need each other.
So he goes on to share that he's talking about the DNA collection, everybody that's doing it, with the nose swabs and all that kind of stuff and just giving it up. Well, there's now, very well known now that there's DNA targeted weapons, to take you out. So it goes into that, but I thought that was funny, not so funny to share, eugenics, because this is where we are right now. You've got to protect yourself from health, mentally, spiritually, and obviously economically, whatever you can do. Just going to jump back in here for a second and go right back to the main video on the website if you want a condensed version of what's going on economically and with regards to, silver and precious metals. You can watch this. Again, Beautiful Angel Numbers working on our behalf. It came to 33 minutes and 55 seconds. In the edit of just 2 weeks ago, a video of Dr. Kirk Elliott. So tap in, listen to what he says here. Is also on Rumble and BitChute, this interview with him, the report on how to create your new fortune, both in precious metals, and you could do as well.
The backbone. I'm not the lightning rod, right? I'm
in crypto,
I'm not the
certain
tip of the
ones.
spear. They are. But when we can help keep their amazing voices out there, it's just an honor and a blessing and just a cool time to be alive. Because okay, here's the thing. People call me every single day, hundreds of times a day, right? 99% of the time, what's the gist of the call? They're paralyzed with fear. Paralyzed. And this is American. People shouldn't be paralyzed for fear, right? But yet they are. And here's the really cool thing about what we do. And so they call in, they heard me talk on a show like I'm talking on yours right now. We're talking about the economy. And they know that there's hope in that message. There's hope for a solution where we can thrive and not have to settle for surviving. So we go over strategies for success. And here's the really cool thing that I wanted to say. You know this, and you can feel it, and you can sense it because your intuition is very strong, right? You can hear a smile. You can actually hear it over the phone. And it is the most amazing experience to when somebody is paralyzed and gripped by fear, which generally causes inaction, right, to just talk to them, hear their dreams, understand them, put together a strategy for success, and feel the energy on that call shift and feel that financial anxiety melt away and hear that smile. There's nothing better. There's nothing better. But here's the thing, because if we don't need to sensationalize the bad news, it's bad. It just is what it is, right? So today,
okay, so we're back. Here you go. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you tuning in. Use your discernment, take what resonates, leave the rest. And I appreciate, once again, for all of you light workers and truthers, digital warriors, sovereign citizens and souls, and divine masculine and divine feminine, for holding the line, for moving us forward in humanity and helping awaken and uplift those that are awakened. Humanity's consciousness on this planet. We're winning. We're about there. So I've got the links to everybody here down below in the show. Feel free to check into them. You've got to do something and take action for sure. And please do like, share, and subscribe in the comments. This is so far the first show I've actually not shown a funny meme yet because there was so much I had to pack in. I've got to jump. I've got another show coming up and a call as well. So we look forward to having you all come back and share with us some of your feedback as well. And those that have been doing, thank you so much. I'm Brad Wozni, and on behalf of the Bling'd Buddha and our team here, we wish you a wonderful, blessed rest of your day, week, and life ahead, of course. And we stand for love, levity, and liberty. Thank you all, and cheers to you. God bless you. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us on the program, ladies and gentlemen. Please like, follow, subscribe, share this with 9 friends and family. And of course, if you enjoy our Bling'd Buddha firing red pills from his 9 mil, let us know.